Hello, everyone, and welcome to Popcast on the Rocks. It's a Sunday. It's October. It's not quite Halloween yet, the 25th, and this is episode 35. I'm John. I'm joined by Andrea, as always. How are you doing?
Good, good. Except for the fact, obviously, that we were talking about earlier, that it is October 25th, not yet Halloween, and snow is falling. I am not cool with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So take that back, weather. Take it all back.
Yeah, that would be preferable. Yes.
Yes.
Uh,
If I wouldn't have had to spend at least 3, 4 hours this week shoveling and snow blowing my driveway already, that would have been excellent.
Well, if things had persisted the way they were, we'd be done in the field completely within a day or something.
Yeah, I'd
But
wondered
now
about,
it's all on stop. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of on pause until you see what
Yeah.
happens.
I'm hoping that, at this point, ideally, um, first week of November, it's
Hmm.
supposed to get into the 40s, upper 40s and stuff. And it's
Okay.
supposed to be there for a while. Now, obviously, that's out a little bit for them to actually tell. But if that were true, it only take us a day yet to, give it a couple days to warm up, everything to fully melt,
Right.
soak in a little bit, give that. So maybe 3 days of that kind of weather or something, hopefully. Then it'd
Hmm.
take us a day to pick the rest of the stuff. And
Sure.
then it'd be 5 days or something to work the fields. And then everything will be okay.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
who
it
knows?
just needs to get back up there. I mean, we
Yep.
usually do have like some sort of freak, you know, 40, 50,
Yeah.
60-degree week going on in November or something. So I'm sure it'll happen. It's just seriously irritating that I've already broken out the snowblower and it's not even Halloween.
Hmm.
Like that's not right. Not even
You
for
could add a couple
Minnesota.
more weeks of going and going to the pumpkin patch and orchards and
Yeah. I mean,
stuff.
we had definite plans to, still pick up some pumpkins and do some pumpkin carving, and like every news station was like, "Don't do it. Don't leave your pumpkins out. They'll freeze or they'll crumble or they'll
Mm.
explode." And I'm like, "Oh my God." Like seriously. So,
Oh,
yeah,
I
kind
should
of
have shared that in the chat. We
hmm.
did we did carve pumpkins yesterday.
Oh, you
So
did. Fun. What'd you
yep.
carve?
I carved a face hugger
Face
from
hugger.
Alien.
Oh, yeah, nice. Okay.
Mhm. Ashley carved a um, crab head monster. So from Half Life. So basically, two versions of face huggers. Their version that latch onto your head, and
Okay.
then you become a crabhead zombie and walk around and stuff. So she did that,
Creepy. That's
and
awesome.
then Val and Luke were over, and so Val carved the monster from Stranger Things.
Oh, okay. The Demogorgon or
Ye- The no, the big what the kid always sees in his dreams and
oh,
stuff.
yeah, Mind
The
Flayer.
big guy.
Okay. Yeah.
And Luke carved the kind of card backings with symbols from Hearthstone.
Okay.
So I think they all turned out. Mine is definitely gonna rot quick. I didn't leave enough attached,
Sure.
but
Was your face hugger attached to a face or just waiting for
no.
its next victim?
Yeah, he was just there. Yeah. So
Cool.
yeah.
That sounds like fun. Yeah, I guess be careful where you leave them because, yeah,
Yeah.
like every single news station was super concerned with people leaving out their pumpkins. And I was like, I mean, I guess I'm glad you care, but wow. This seems like like it seriously, it was on like every single news channel. And the only reason I was really watching the news is because Chris had like a segment about his school on there, so we were kind of like flipping
Mm.
around. It was cool, but
But
yeah.
then it was interrupted. Boop, 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 boop,
Yeah,
boop, boop,
right.
boop, boop, boop,
Alert,
boop.
alert. Yeah.
Alert. Yep.
Breaking news.
Everyone statewide, take your pumpkins
Uh,
in.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what we care about here.
Hmm. um, well, you found a couple drinking days, huh?
Yeah, kind of very different drinking days, So if you're not into one, you've got plenty of other choices. We had October 19th, which was International Gin and Tonic Day. On October 21st, it was National Mezcal Day. And then 2 days from now, on Tuesday, it's going to be American Beer Day. So you've got gin, mezcal, and beer. So take your pick of one of the liquors. It's a wide variety.
I didn't do any of those last night.
What?
Yeah. But after Pumpkins, we watched What We Do in the Shadows, the
Oh,
movie.
nice. Good one.
Great movie. And Val and Luke hadn't seen it before.
Mhm.
And so I made, I just call them vampire blood martinis.
What's
So
in that?
that was vodka and gin. And then we have this sour cherry liqueur from, I think it's Jake Harbor.
Okay.
Local or whatever, and then some rhubarb bitters. So it was a little more like brownish kind of. So I said it's just aged. We used aged blood
There you go.
because we're classy like that. So
That's right. Finely aged, like scotch.
Yep.
That's cool. That sounds good.
While we're on the topic of liquors,
Yes.
I was going to ask you on the fly here or on the spot.
Okay.
So you're familiar with Kettle One vodka, right?
Yes. I mean, I've had it.
I mean, yeah. When do you think that Kettle One, the vodka, was created? In what year?
Ooh. Can I get like a ballpark? Like, can you give me a
I
century?
think so. Well, no, I mean, if you narrow it down to 50 years or something, I'd be they're from Holland.
Okay. Kettle One. Can I say between 1850 to 1900?
That would be off by a
Off
ways.
by a ways. Okay. Older or newer?
Older.
Older. All right. Okay.
Mhm.
I thought I was reaching back. Are we going like 1700 to 1750? Is that like a ways?
1691.
Oh, man. I was getting
So,
tight there. All right.
Isn't that? I
That's
mean,
crazy.
I was looking through them in the store, and it's like I've had Kettle One, but I have never bought it myself. And I
Sure.
just started looking at it, and they list every person's name in the family. It's 11 generations. And the first generation, they were born in 1638.
Wow.
And I just am like, holy buckets, there's not much that lasts that long,
Yeah.
Makes me kind of a Kettle One fan.
Yeah, that's really cool. I kind of
So
wonder if they were always Kettle One. I don't know
like
why.
it's always
Like,
called that.
yeah, exactly. Like if they had some sort of different name earlier. Um, I don't know. It seems. I guess maybe I don't know if like it stood for something or if it was like, you know, the kind of first in Holland, like the first distillery or something like that. But I don't know. Just something about adding like the number to it seems
Yeah.
more modern.
Well, it says the original pot still number one.
Oh, okay.
So
So
if it's
kettle came differently.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. That actually kind of makes more sense to me.
yeah. So Kettle One owes its distinctive quality to a combination of modern distilling techniques and the magic of traditional copper stills, including our coal-fired pot still number one.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was really neat. And
That
not many
is.
things have been around for, businesses or whatever been around that long.
Mm-hmm.
And William the Third was the King of England in that year.
Yes.
Yorktown, Virginia was founded.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Emperor Leopold the First took control of Transylvania.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
I
that
mean,
one.
yeah, it's
That's
just,
yeah, that's quite a while ago.
yeah.
That's cool.
So, anyways,
It's
I
kind of a
I
fun little bit of
talked
trivia.
about that a little bit, yeah, and I'm having my Bloody Mary. So I'm not adhering to any of the days. So
Well, it is a brunch edition, so
yeah,
you're
right,
adhering to that tradition.
right. Do you have anything fun that you're drinking, or any fun trivia to impart?
Coffee. I got coffee, and no, unfortunately, I don't have like a cool bit of trivia. But now you've like set the bar. I'm gonna have to come to next week and just be like, John, got something for you. Little quiz.
Yeah.
Nothing to wake you up like trying to fire your brain and think about
Yep.
history.
Yep. All right. News. We've got some
Hmm.
news. I suppose I should lay this out for people, how this is going to go. We got a few news stories, and then I mean, what else do you do studies on? You do studies on everything. There's a study on
Hmm.
the science of scare. So we've got a list of what this study shows as the scariest films. They'll kind
Hmm.
of go through and talk about the standouts for us. And then later in the episode, we'll get real spoilery with Daredevil season 1 from Netflix.
Hmm.
Not that that's new, but it's new to you, and I've
Yes.
just finished rewatching it. So yeah, thought we talk about it.
Sounds good. Good episode.
Want to kick us off with this? It's very tragic news. Very tragic.
Yeah, very tragic and very unsurprising. Quibi has announced that it's officially shutting down operations. It's no longer available. It's not officially pulled yet, I think. I think you can still access its content. I don't know when that's officially wrapping up. Um, but all the major shareholders have announced that yes, Quibi will be gone shortly. To no one's surprise. I mean, kind of from the second it launched, it underperformed, it underwhelmed, and nobody really seemed to care about Quibi. And it's, short little 10-minute episodes. So no
I
surprise that it's
mean,
going under.
it's interesting. Like, what does it take then at this point to kickstart and make successful a new
Hmm.
streaming service? Like,
Yeah.
what is that? Is there any space? I mean, Disney Plus obviously is new, HBO Max is new, but these are, they're not like brand new. Like, we know Disney and what they own and
Right.
everything. It comes with stuff
Right.
involved. HBO Max, obviously HBO, and
Right.
then
HBO
Apple TV Plus
expansion.
is kind of the new one.
Hmm.
But a lot for people that just came with your new phone or something for a while. So at
Hmm.
least you're automatically like, excuse me, giving it a try.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think Quibi's problem in my mind was twofold. One, I mean, those shorter episodes were really designed, they said, for like quick little views, which lend itself really well, they said, to like, oh, you're on the bus or you're on the train and you're commuting or you're just like, driving between
mhm,
places and you want to get in like a quick episode. Well, unfortunately, COVID arrived about the same time and people
right.
didn't really go anywhere. So they had the luxury of staying at home and watching longer episodes of things. And I think we saw that with like an uptick in regular streaming service numbers, that people wanted that longer content. So that was a real problem for them. And then Quibi was also plagued, I think. um, I was reading up on this a little bit last night. They were plagued with lawsuits, because
Mm,
because of the fact that the episodes were so short. They didn't have to pay like union wages to all the production staff. They didn't have to offer like benefits. They didn't have to offer breaks, like things that you would normally get with
mm,
sort of like full-time work. But because it was like, there's technically some sort of rule about episodes where they need to be at least like 11 or 12 minutes long to count as like full production episodes.
mm.
So they were getting away with like seriously underpaying their staff, which was probably a cost saver for them in the short term, but in the long term, they had a lot of people quit, like I said, a
Interesting.
lot of lawsuits. So I think that kind of mired the company in legal battles and fees. So
Yeah. Do you know if they're going to sell off the IP at all? Like if someone
That I
gets
don't.
it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the shutdown is still too new. It was just sort of
Hmm.
like, yep, it's officially happening after, months and months of rumors. But it'd be interesting to see as that goes forward and they actually, kind of begin the process of shutting down if they do sell
Yeah.
off the IP and where
Because
it goes.
there's like, I mean, there were a number of firstly, there's a ton of big names, and
Yeah,
there were some things that I thought looked interesting.
yeah,
I just wasn't gonna bother having another thing.
right.
So it wasn't enough to make me try this brand new other thing
Hmm.
that even though they made a app later and stuff for smart TVs and whatever, it started, that was kind of the problem at the start. It was just on your phone, and like that was the gimmick.
Yep,
Well, you say not everybody wants to watch that way or whatever. So
yep. Yeah, it'll be interesting, like I said, to see how they kind of close it down and what becomes of, any of the shows, possibly if they get picked
yeah,
up by other streaming services and, you know, feel that they have the potential to develop into something, more fully realized, like a full show.
yep,
So
mm,
we'll see. But yeah,
yep.
say goodbye to Quibi.
Yeah, iPhone 12 just released. You're putting here. Yeah, the event was the other week.
Yeah, that kind
They,
of snuck up on me. I
okay,
I mean, I knew it was coming. It just when it happened, I was like, "Oh right, like now it's
sure.
happening." So, it's here.
Yeah, with the pre-recording
Mhm.
events and stuff, Apple's been doing it differently this year. Usually they have
Yeah.
one, maybe two events towards the end of the year. This year it seems like they're going to have three at least.
Mhm.
So they did one in September, the one in October, that's the iPhone one, and then supposedly one in November for new Mac stuff.
Oh, okay. Sure.
And yeah, Ashley just got her phone the other day. Got
Oh yeah. Has
yep.
she set it all up and learning how to work it? I mean,
Yeah, I mean
not
she
that there's much to
normally,
learn.
yeah, normally she starts fresh. She always just starts with a new layout and everything, but this time she just restored from the last one. So
Okay.
um was up and running right away pretty much.
Yeah.
Um but
She
it's
like it so
nice.
far?
Yeah. She just likes the feel of it. And I'm very excited that it's back, the squared off edges and stuff, like the
Oh,
iPhone 5,
yeah. Mhm.
iPhone 4, those that kind of I always like that look.
Mhm.
So yeah. It's cool, it's good. Reviews have been coming out. Um
Pretty positive.
but yeah, it's it's always hard to tell because, a lot of these people they don't have the phones all that long, and so
Yeah.
it's kind of a not a very good way to it's happened before with like Pixel devices a couple of times or whatever.
Right.
Reviews come out, do all this stuff, and then a month or two goes on. It's like, oh, it seems like there's a lot of issues with this thing or whatever, the
Yep.
speakers or whatever, something going on. Or did you notice that if you are playing music and you switch to another thing, it stops because it doesn't have enough memory and things that they don't always notice in 3 days of testing. So,
Right. Well, you can't do everything on your phone in 3 days, so
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll see, but yeah, positive to start. We'll see what
yep.
happens from here.
I'm trying to decide because I'll either get the iPhone 12 mini, which is not gone up for pre-order yet
Mhm.
because it's even smaller, and I like the idea of having that really fits in your hand kind of device again,
Yep.
or to the biggest one, the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which I really don't want one that big, but it has a better camera. It literally has a
Mhm.
larger image sensor. It has sensor shift, so like for the optical image stabilization, the sensor itself will move to adjust. So I don't know.
You don't think at that point, like, just switch and use a camera?
Well, I mean, so that's the thing. I could get the small one and
Mhm.
then get a new camera. That's the decision
Ah,
I'm trying to make. Do I,
gotcha.
but like they always say, the best camera is the one you have with you always. So
True. True. It is
to
about convenience.
I did to make sure to carry it more.
Yep. Yep.
So
How big is the the 12 Pro Max?
The screen I think is 6.7.
Okay. All right.
So I mean, when you think about it, early tablets, small tablets are 7 inches, so
Yeah, that's what
it's
I was
getting there.
thinking. I was like having visions of tablets in my head. So
But the
yeah,
bezels are real small on these or whatever, so it can fit a lot in that.
sure.
But I don't know. So chat, if you got advice, I know it's just really a
Recommendations.
decision that I can only make, but whatever,
But
I'm
hey, I
undecided.
mean, you never know. You never know if somebody has some good advice or
Yep.
in the 3 days of using, their new phone, if they've noticed
Yep.
something.
Yeah. Type the dimensions in the chat. I've been trying to compare it to other phones I have laying around or old ones and stuff.
Sure.
So I've got this. Hold on. This
Oh, you got
was
it.
for
You got.
viewers.
Oh,
This
okay.
was Ashley's old Windows phone, one of
Sure.
them, and this is a big phone, and
Yes,
it's
it is.
not this big.
Okay.
So
So you can have it
it
in your
is.
hand. It's just not like very pocket friendly kind of thing.
Yeah, you know, you can slide most of them in your back pocket, I guess, but I don't know, Andrea. First world problems. So,
Decisions.
yep.
Maybe we'll throw a poll out and see what people think you should do.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Back to movie news and stuff.
Yeah,
Scream 5, huh?
that's right. I'm super pumped. I've been watching like the old Screams. Scream 1 and Scream 2 have been running pretty steadily on TV as part of like Freeform's, 31 Nights of Halloween. And I love the Scream movies, so I've been rewatching them. And they've just announced that Scream 5, which we all like knew was in the works. We just didn't know exactly who from the original cast was going to be attached earlier this year. But it looks like everybody, like Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, they're all coming back officially, and they've already started filming. So they
Okay.
are filming right now. Fingers crossed that there are no delays on that.
Right.
Um, and the release date for now is January 14th of 2022, which I think
Okay.
is rather odd for
Yeah.
a Scream movie. It seems really weird to release in January. Not related
It
to
seems to
Halloween
be,
season at all.
yeah,
But whatever. I mean, I don't make the
it
decisions.
seems to be kind of a hot spot though, that middle of winter sort of thing for other, like I feel like Scream, yeah, normally seems like it's during the Halloween time, but I
Yeah.
feel like I've seen plenty of other horror movies come out
Yeah.
something like that or early spring.
Yeah, I don't think for horror movies in general it's perfectly fine. It just, Scream to me is just so tied to Halloween. So it's just kind
Yep.
of funny, but yeah,
Yep.
I'm just excited. I'll go. I'll go see it for sure. I saw Scream 4 in theaters, I'm pretty sure.
Is the full cast back or
Yes.
all new?
I mean,
It is.
yeah, so Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, they're back for sure. Um, I mean, they're kind of the only ones that really can be back.
I guess. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Huh. Okay. All
yeah,
right.
I
I
don't.
think I've only seen the first one,
You've only
actually.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
The first one I think is the best one. I mean, it's
Sure.
like the best new original story. The sequels are fun just because, they're really great, like scary but also spoofy on sequels. The whole
Mhm.
I obviously the whole premise is like everybody in there already knows about horror movies, so they're, like don't do this in a horror movie, and then they're like
Yeah.
themselves inside a horror movie, and they do kind of, keep that riff going in the sequels, and it works I think for the second, gets tired in the third, picks back up in the fourth, and we'll see what happens in the fifth.
We went to the Alamo for when they were playing Scream,
Oh
and so
yeah.
had their props and stuff for that. I forget what they
Nice.
all were, but
Do you dress up in the ghost face mask?
No, I did not. I remember in school that being a big deal for Halloween. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
kids in that.
Yeah. If
Um,
you learn anything in the sequels, it's to be wary, because even if you think you know the person in there and they're just like playing a joke, you never know. Could actually be the killer.
yep. Let's see. Ghost Floof. Ghost Floof is in the chat.
Hey, Ghost
Thanks for
Floof.
stopping by.
Oh, they like
G
Scream too. All right.
says it became too predictable though.
Yes, it
Not
did.
predictable.
It did. Especially, like I said, by the third installment, it was very tired. A lot of the gimmicks were overused. Like the plot was obviously, always the same. They were coming to get
Mhm.
Sydney. Um, the fourth, I think, was interesting just because it kind of took a little bit of a different tack. Um, and it had been a while since like the other Screams, so I found it a little more engaging. And yeah, I hope they totally just blow us away with five.
I'm kind of surprised. I mean, in this day and age in Hollywood, that it's not just a reboot at this point.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm happy that it isn't.
like they could keep the same actors and stuff, but just kind of attaching the five to it. A lot of
Hmm.
people always feel like, well, there's so much baggage there, then I have to go. So it's like when they redid Halloween,
Yeah,
it's still like it still is acknowledging the past, but just calling it Halloween and sort of doing what you want with it, it's freeing up for a new audience
it's a
that I
fresh
don't have
start.
to like go see the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I like it. I think there are just too many reboots and remakes at this point. Why not just be like, yeah, you know what? Like we're just gonna forge ahead with this story. I mean, I hope it's good. I hope, like I said, it's not tired, that they're trying to do, an addition to the original story. But I don't know. I'm getting a little overexposed to reboots and remakes.
well, part
Just
of the thing
make a new movie, for goodness sake.
um I'd say like you should do maybe being their idea is that they're self-aware, just
Yeah.
call it like Scream 24. It's kind of like when they do those, if they make fun of some film, or in The Boys, they do that,
Yep.
be however many iterations because they're making fun of the idea of so many sequels.
Yep.
So just embrace it and go, wait, did I miss like 18 other ones? What happened?
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
intriguing. People would definitely be like, "My God, where did all these go?"
Yeah. Oh, Ghost Floof in the chat says he still hasn't watched the new Spider-Man. I'm
All
not
right.
sure. He says Ultimate Spider-Man, so I'm not sure which Spider-Man that technically is. Like if it means like the cartoon Ultimate Spider-Man or just um in movies like anything after Tobey Maguire.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah. I don't know if Ultimate Spider-Man would be Tom Holland.
yeah, or Amazing Spider-Man, that was what's his face in
Oh,
between the two.
yeah, Andrew Garfield. Yep.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I really
So
thought that was going somewhere. I mean, I know we've talked about Spider-Man and the reboots a lot, but man,
yeah.
I'm still surprised. I really thought Garfield was going somewhere, and then the second one just tanked it. So,
See, and I liked those movies. I thought they were good.
yeah.
But I heard, and this relates to what we're going to talk about later with Daredevil.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I saw someone tweet if Jamie Foxx can come back as Electro, then Charlie Cox can come back as Daredevil because supposedly they're going to be bringing Jamie Foxx and Electro back for the next Spider-Man or something.
Really?
Yeah. Which,
Wow.
see, it's like, I
Okay.
mean, I guess if you pretend that the other universe doesn't exist,
I
the
mean, that
previous
can
stuff,
happen.
and you bring him
Yeah.
in, it's like, well, you just don't worry about that. We just want this actor here
Right.
anyways. But if you've been following along, it might be weird.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll make them different enough, that it
Right.
won't
I
seem
hope
the same.
I hope so because I actually thought the like visualization of Jamie Foxx's character was one of the worst parts of that movie. I did not. It just
Mm.
didn't feel believable at all. So I'm not saying anything about like Jamie Foxx's performance.
Yeah.
So I thought he did well, but yeah, just like the visualization of the character didn't work for me. It was too out
Well,
there.
maybe that's what they think too. Maybe they're like, he didn't get a fair shot at it,
Yeah,
You have
yeah,
a different vision, but he could still do it. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I'd
Yeah.
be willing to give it a shot. It's a little weird, but
Yeah. Those Floof is talking about just the Tobey Maguire ones. He's seen those and
okay. Yep.
it's done after that. So
Yep.
I thought, to me, and I think, like you said, we've talked about this, but after they axed Andrew Garfield's version, then I really didn't want to see anything else. But
Mhm.
it was so smart of them to put the new Spider-Man in the Captain America movie I was already going to see.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, well,
Little
this
hook in
kid
there.
looks good, so.
Yeah. Yeah, Marvel has a great track record of, you know, getting characters. I mean, first, obviously with the little teasers at the end of the credits, and then, eventually they just stuck them new characters in other movies. They have a great track record of like introducing you into something you're already gonna watch and already care about, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is intriguing. All right.
Mhm.
I don't hate it or, oh, I really like it. So yeah, I'll go see, the next movie about whoever. So they do play that really smart.
Yep, for sure. They've got a plan.
That's right.
Um, HBO Max has a plan, right? I mean, they're certainly coming up with lots of content,
They are.
original and just other stuff, that they're getting the deal on or whatever.
Yeah, they're releasing some new content this weekend, kind of pre-Halloween content. The Witches with Anne Hathaway and Octavia Spencer is going to be released, I believe, today, along with Doctor Sleep, the sequel to The Shining that came out in
Yes.
2019. And then Nicole Kidman and, gosh, I think it's Hugh Grant is her partner in this one, The Undoing. Um,
Oh, the legal one, right? The
yes,
legal drama kind of thing. Some
yes,
sort of,
yeah.
I
So
remember that being advertised.
yeah, so the kind of basic synopsis is um, that Nicole Kidman is married to again Hugh Grant, I think, and
Sounds
he
familiar.
causes some sort of like devastation, or he's the reason behind it, um, and she kind of has to live with the choice he made as she like finds out, he's the cause of, this like destruction, this devastating act, and kind of has to learn to like, should I stay? Should I go? What should I do for my kid? Deal with all the ramifications. So, kind of like a more psychological show, kind of more what
Yeah.
is human nature, what do you do, how do these relationships have ties over you, and how do you take responsibility for things that you cause, but still sort of like from what I've seen a little bit of like mind games, relationship
Sure.
terror kind of thing.
Yep.
So I said it was Halloween adjacent. So
Right.
but yeah, obviously the
Oh,
Witches and Doctor Sleep are both very Halloween related content.
Doctor Sleep, I thought was great. I mean,
Hmm.
I love The Shining, and I didn't know what to expect from this, but I thought it was very good, very
Yeah,
well done.
yeah, I'm excited. it's
There's,
it's kind of coming to HBO Max so I can rewatch it.
yeah, there was, I think when I first saw it, I said, whoever made the X-Men movies, maybe I've talked about that here before too, should be ashamed that they've never done a in your mind sequence like they do in this movie.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Professor Xavier or Jean Grey or Nathan Summers or someone should have been diving into someone's mind, because the way that they do this scene where, and I won't spoil it, but one person is going into another person's basically mind palace,
Right.
invading their mind, looking through the memories and stuff, and how that goes is so well shot. I think it's so well thought out
Hmm.
and like creepy. It's just really cool. I think they did an amazing job. So
Oh,
Bryan Singer,
yeah.
well, yeah, the X-Men movies and stuff. I
The
mean, him
first one, yeah.
and others, yeah. But I forget the guy that directed like First Class and stuff. He
Oh,
counts
yeah.
too. So, um, yeah. But Ghost Floof is asking which movie scared us the most. We will get to that. We're
Yes.
getting there. We're
Yes.
getting there.
That ranking is coming up.
Before that, you have PlayStation 4 Halloween gaming sale.
That's right. There's not a lot going on. I think there's maybe like 20 or so games, but yeah, if you're into like games of horror and Halloween related content, then PS4 is having a Halloween related gaming sale for you. So you can pick up some new games before, you transition over to the PS5, or if you don't want to transition over to the PS5, then yeah,
Sure.
stock up and, you know, hunker down so you can have some
Or
content
if
on the
you're
PS4.
or if you're not able to transition because
That's
you
very
can't
true.
find one.
That's true. Are you guys still struggling with that?
We honestly haven't looked in a while. It's like, well,
Sure.
we've got our Xbox coming. I've got a capable computer that can play things. And I'm playing a game right now actually on my iPad. It's available on other things as well, but found this game that I remember being previewed quite some time ago called
Mhm.
Forgotten Anne. Um,
Mm,
and
what's that about?
it's a game that looks the art style I would say is kind of like Full Metal Alchemist. Just kind of the
Okay.
character drawings and stuff seem to be in that sort of style. And
Sure.
it's really gorgeous. It's a game like made in Unity or whatever, so you think, oh, it's basic or something, but it's everything looks really hand drawn,
Hmm.
well lit. It's just gorgeous, and the soundtrack is great. And so yeah, I've just been playing it on my iPad. I hook up a controller or whatever, and it was only like $7.
Okay.
Um, and so highly recommended. The gameplay is like light platforming and puzzle solving, and
Okay.
otherwise it's like it's about the story. You do make some choices. I think there's multiple endings to it.
Hmm.
So if you are extra mean or extra nice, things will turn out differently. So
That's kind of fun.
yeah. Yeah, I think I'm getting near the end. I don't think it's a real long game. I think it's a
Hmm.
few hours, But
Oh, not bad.
yeah, no, I've been really liking it. So
Decent content for $7.
yeah, great. I keep trying to keep an eye on because I mean, so much of the gaming market is in the mobile space, and so I always am
Hmm.
looking at what, and they keep bringing more and more real, I quote unquote real games to
Hmm.
mobile. As that um, becomes more capable,
Right.
then yeah, we keep getting more stuff. So yeah. All right. As Ghost Floof requested, uh, here's the so this was a study
Hmm.
done called the Science of Scare Project,
Yes.
and they basically took a bunch of people and tracked their heart rates while they watched a bunch of horror movies.
Yes.
So there's 35 here.
Yeah.
Um,
It seems like they had them watch quite a few movies. I mean, there's a ooh, almost sneezed. There's 35 on this list, and then they did talk about in the article a few more that aren't on this list. So I have to imagine that they watched more than are here, and they just didn't like rank heartbeat wise.
okay, interesting. I was wondering, so I'd have to like read their methodology here,
Yeah,
but if if that's available someplace, which I would think,
I'm sure it
um,
is.
I assume these were like had to be spread out, you know? You
Yeah,
can't
so
just
your heart rate
pummel
wasn't
someone.
already.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
or you become numb to it at a point,
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
Mhm.
I've been jump scared so many times, it's not working on me anymore.
Right.
Got to
Right.
have lots of time to calm down and yeah. So, assuming they're above board here in their
To just
research.
prop
But
their eyes open for like 5 days and just
yeah.
flash film after film.
Well, okay. So we want to talk about it's a list of 35. Everybody can you can easily find this Googling probably the Science of Scare project.
Yes.
But top 10 here. Should we go through that and then we can kind of pull out other ones that we think are notable, just so
Sure.
the audience knows what they think the top 10 is.
Sure.
Number 10, The Visit. Number 9, The Descent. Number 8, The Babadook. Number 7, The Conjuring 2. Number 6, It Follows. Number 5, Paranormal Activity. Number 4, Hereditary. Number 3, The Conjuring. Number 2, Insidious. And number 1, Sinister. It's a pretty nice list.
Yeah. Have you seen almost? I know the answer is not none.
Okay, so what you highlighted is what you've seen.
Yes.
Is that what I'm getting here?
Yes.
I thought maybe that's like what you liked or something. Okay, I should have done that too. Yeah, I've seen a lot of them for sure. I would say the only ones in that list I haven't seen are Hereditary and Paranormal Activity.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, I know enough about Paranormal Activity that I just hadn't remembered that I hadn't actually seen the movie. You know what I mean? Like I know enough of the premise and all the sequels, and it's like talked about. I just like hadn't remembered that, like, oh, I haven't actually sat down and watched that. So I kind of feel like I should, maybe just to like, officially say I've seen it. But yeah, the other couple that I hadn't seen, Hereditary, I hadn't even heard of, although Toni Collette is in that, and I do really like her as an actress. I do not know what The Visit is, I have to say. And then you just watched it? Okay. And then, yeah, I was also shocked to remember that I hadn't seen The Babadook. Like, yeah.
Okay. See,
again, I know what it is. I just like hadn't sat down and watched it.
Yep. Well, Ghost Floof says he's wondering how The Nun isn't number 1. I actually don't see The Nun on this list even of 35.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they had talked about, like I said in the article, some other movies that because they were talking about how newer movies were ranking higher than older movies. In terms of like the scare and the jump factor and people's heart rates. And so they were unsurprised by that finding. But they were talking about some older movies that hadn't quite made it on the list. So yeah. I don't know.
So
I don't know if they had, I mean, when did The Nun come out? That's pretty recent. Maybe they just didn't do it.
Maybe it's been 3 years already, maybe.
Okay.
2
it's hard to remember. Time is, gone pretty wonky this year.
For The Nun. I was very excited for that movie.
I was too.
And I was let down.
2018.
I like the visuals.
Alan says 2018, so 2 years. So yeah, it could have been included in this list.
I like the villain too. I do like
the
imagery of that. I just didn't. I thought that I had some issues with the way the movie actually went. It's been a while. I only saw it in a theater then, but
yeah.
But yeah, like the one guy. I feel like there was one guy in there that was so useless. I don't know. I'd have to watch it again to like really critique it again. But so let me do like 2 things. First, the question here is what's scariest? So what do you think of this list of 35 is scariest here, or contender at least? And then which ones do you like the most? What stands out as ones that are actually really, really good?
Sure. So I mean, I think they did a pretty good job, because I think the top 3 movies are like Sinister, Insidious, and The Conjuring, I think are among my top choices for scary movies. I mean, they're well done. The scares are well done. They're not too much jump scare. There's some real, like, horror, I think, in the way you realize like the story unfolding and what's actually happening. So I do think their top three choices are really great. I think for me, Insidious beats out Sinister, but I'm not terribly upset at the fact
Okay.
that they like. I also can understand that like Sinister Sinister had more tension. I just find the concept of Insidious a little bit scarier. So,
Sure.
the only movie that I'm kind of, for me, that I'm kind of disappointed didn't even make the list is The Woman in Black with Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, you always had a soft spot for that film.
I really like it. I think it's well done, and like I really had an enjoyable time not seeing him as Harry Potter. Like it really worked for
Sure.
me. And I thought the premise of it was great. I thought it was a little heavy on the jump scare. Um so I mean, I'm not like above critiquing the movie. But I thought like the general concept of it was really well executed. And like I said, I'm surprised it's not even on the list. So kind
Sure.
of bummed about that.
I mean, in fairness, I never hear people talk about that much,
Yeah.
but I remember seeing it. Yeah, I remember seeing it in the theater, and I enjoyed it. Uh, Ghost Flu says Harry Potter will never be scary to but I
Well,
mean,
to be
he
fair,
wasn't
he wasn't
scary.
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was getting scared.
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I think probably like the couple things that just like stand out for me are like the whole I mean, and I know it's easy to mock, but like the whole like, people rising from the marshes is just, and like the fact that like this house gets flooded and you can't escape. There's just something about like the believability of that. So often in horror movies you're not really trapped. Like you kind of just like got yourself there, and you watch people hide in closets and you're like, what are you doing? And
Yep.
for me, the idea that this solicitor had to go to a house to execute the will and figure out the whole estate, but then these floods come in and you're not allowed to leave the house because you can't cross you know the marshes, like that to me was like very believable. So I enjoyed the fact that like this guy felt genuinely trapped. So
Yep. Yeah. I I have this tendency to like quote unquote horror movies that are I
Mhm.
like the thematic element of them. I
Yeah.
like the idea of vampires and something gothic but
Yeah.
it's not that it's scary that makes me like it. So like I'm kind of on the outside. I like the Constantine movie with
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves. It's not really a scary movie, really, but it's got demons and stuff in it.
Yeah.
And like Dracula with again Keanu Reeves, but Gary Oldman, and
Yeah.
that's not really scary either. Not
Yeah.
really, but I just think it's really good, and again, it's
Yes.
vampires. So
Yep.
um, it's not always to me what is scary that is making it good.
Yeah.
A good movie is sometimes happens to be scary. So I always said that The Conjuring was what I thought was the scariest movie
Sure.
that I'd seen. And so as number three, like I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I don't think it was a ton of jump scares. It just was yeah, it was just effective, and the
Hmm.
whole like the clap behind the person's head of the stairwell and different stuff. And
Yeah.
um possessions and exorcisms are tough to do. They've been done a lot, but sometimes don't work out so well. And I thought they did that stuff well here.
I agree.
So, but I also can't be mad at Sinister as number one
Yeah.
because Bagul is terrifying, and
Yes.
that movie felt to me like the best modern horror film that really is structured and feels like a classic horror film. It
Yes.
builds well. It
Yes.
doesn't just come out right at you. It is a slow burn in a way, and yeah, it's unsettling. I think Sinister is very good.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I think you and I and Ashley and Chris went to go see that in the theater. Did we not? I think I think
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure, and I think that was Chris's first horror movie in a while because he's
Mhm.
not like quite as big a fan of the genre as I am, and I even remember him coming out of there being like, "Wow, that was excellent." The tension
Sure.
of the story like really built upon itself well, kind of leading to the climactic moment, and I thought Ethan Hawke did a great job. I'm normally not like a huge fan of his work. Not that I think he's bad. I haven't seen a lot that I like him in, and I thought he did really, really well as the main character here.
Sure.
So I think all around, like the story, like you said, it's kind of a classic throwback, set modern. The acting, everything just came together really well in Sinister.
Yep.
So yeah, can't be mad really. Like I think any of the top three could be interchangeable, and I'm really not
Yeah,
mad
I'd be
about their
okay with.
specific
Yeah.
ranking.
Right. Well, Ghost Floof says he grew up next to a 70-plus-year-old abandoned hospital, and that's why they're not like why The Conjuring doesn't scare him. Um,
Man, do you ever go in
have you
there?
ghost?
I mean,
I was gonna say, have you ghost hunted there? That's the question. Um,
yeah, do you ever get dared
yeah.
to go in there or, try and like spend a couple hours exploring or something? I think what that actually makes me think of most is oh gosh, I can't remember which season it is, but American Horror Story Asylum when they
Okay.
when those kids are in the beginning are like running into that old abandoned mental
Mm,
hospital and just being like, "Ooh, I dare you to go in there, go in there."
mm,
Like, I don't know.
yep.
That's kind of what it makes me think of.
I still am happy that I've seen most of these films. That's
Yeah.
nice. Um, uh, so as far as like, is there anything we think shouldn't be on this list? And that's really not scary.
Um, man.
See, to me, Get Out shouldn't be on this list because, I mean, you almost want to go with a like. There's lots of movies that are tense and like thrillers. A really good thriller
Right.
is tense. You might be on the edge of your seat a lot,
But it's
kind of
not.
holding your breath and not realizing it, that kind of thing. It's not because you're scared in the traditional sense or whatever,
Right.
but there's a lot of built up tension. And I feel like that's another list.
Yeah.
That's a different list.
Yeah, I agree. There's something different about a scary movie versus a psychological thriller, which is why like when I was talking about HBO's new content that's coming out this week, I said The Undoing is like
Yeah,
Halloween adjacent because it's a psychological
exactly.
thriller. So yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, even having seen like the first 30 minutes only of Get Out, um I wouldn't necessarily call it a scary movie,
Mhm.
but I mean, it's a little borderline. Um, I've unfortunately had the ending spoiled for me, so I know what happens. But
Mm.
I mean, I get, it's kind of a stretch to include it, but I kind of get why it's here.
Yeah, I just wonder what
Um,
would happen if they started adding a whole bunch of other thrillers, like you say, psychological thrillers,
yeah.
stuff that even movies that are really intense, like Mad Max Fury Road.
Mm,
That probably gets my pulse going.
yeah.
There's crazy stuff happening there, but then you're not testing fear anymore.
Hmm.
It's so.
It's really more
Uh,
about tension. Yeah.
mhm.
Oh, Alan says like Midsummer. Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Or gosh, what was I thinking of? It's not a scary movie, but it's tense. Oh my gosh, it's the one with Joaquin Phoenix and Mel Gibson and like the
Oh,
aliens.
Signs.
Signs,
Yes.
thank you. I knew it was like one word. I mean, that's sort of like borderline like
Yeah.
it's
I wonder if that was tested.
psychological, but cuz I don't know, I thought that was pretty scary. Not
It
in like a
was.
not like a Halloween scary, but just like man, like I was really
Yeah.
surprised by things. There were great plot twists, like it had my heart going.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. God, we should watch that one again. That's been ages
I
since
know,
we've
I
seen
know.
Signs.
I watched that a long time ago. I think the first time I watched it very stupidly was at like 1 in the morning, you
Mhm.
know. Like I was having some friends over and, we were just like, oh, what should we do? Like, let's watch, scary movie. And then it was actually very scary.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff for sure. What do you think is just plain the best? Like not scariest, best movie on here or a couple of them or something?
Sure. I was kind of looking through this earlier and I think I still really like Sinister overall as a movie. So I think that deserves its place on here. Um, as far as the rest that I've seen, Alien is amazing. I mean, I'm surprised it's not a little bit higher up on the list, but it also isn't. I mean, it's one of the older movies, so people like they were saying just don't tend to get as scared at some of the older movies because they kind of are distracted by other things like the technology or the dialogue or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's all around an amazing movie. Um, and then I also really really like as a movie on the whole, the new one. I'm assuming they're
Okay.
including the new one because I don't
Probably,
find the
yeah.
original It very scary. But
Right.
I thought that was a well done movie. I didn't love the second
Yeah.
part so much, but I really liked the first.
I would agree with, I mean, I definitely like those. Again, it brings up the question of the methodology because to me, if you're going to be fair about this, you'd need to be testing people that have never seen these movies.
Sure. Yeah.
Any of them.
Yeah.
Well, how are you going to find someone that's not seen any of these movies? So that you'd have to leave them out for the movies they haven't seen. And well, then,
Right.
like, I don't
You're
know.
changing your audience.
Yeah.
Changing your variable there. Yeah.
Exactly. So
I like how scientifically you're approaching this. You're like really concerned about the methods in this.
Well, look,
I mean, it does make a difference.
lists.
Absolutely. But yeah.
Yeah. Everybody puts out lists all the time and they say this found this or whatever. And it's like, really? I mean, did you for sure? Or did you pull aside 10 people, and then like, I don't know. So yeah, I question how they did that exactly. I guess they're figuring if they're doesn't need to be the same person. It's just people in general, So like if person is generic, then it, but I don't think that's fair because people react quite differently to
very true.
Yeah, I think Alien is my favorite on this list. Yeah. It's a favorite movie.
So good.
It's just, it's perfection to me. The Witch is very good.
Is that the Vin Diesel witch?
Vin
or is that
Diesel?
remember?
Oh no, that's like Witch Hunter or something weird.
No,
right?
it's because I remember it being something like the witch, right?
No. This has the woman that's going to play Furiosa, I think. The younger version.
Oh, Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, I think that's the woman that's in this.
Okay.
Very good. Very
Alan, can you look up the Vin Diesel one just so I know if it's the witch or not? Now I need to know if I'm crazy.
It's gotta be like the witch.
Oh, it's
also called The Witch.
Ha! See?
Well, that better not be the movie they're talking about here. I mean,
they should clarify because some things are named the same. Like, when I was saying that I liked It.
Yeah.
Oh wait. No, not the witch. Witch. But they should clarify because when I was talking about It, like, I needed to know if we were talking about the new one. Oh, confirmed Anya Taylor-Joy. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So what's the Vin Diesel one then?
I'll type it in. Vin. The Witch Hunter. Yeah.
Oh, it is the Witch Hunter. Oh, yeah, the last Witch Hunter. Okay. All right.
That's not in this list. That has Elijah Wood in it. And Michael Caine.
Really?
And Rose Leslie from Game of Thrones.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
All-star
I do actually remember Rose Leslie, but I don't remember Elisha Wood and Michael Caine. Wacky.
cast. Yeah, The Witch. I didn't like it the first time I saw it so
Okay.
much. It seems, but at the movie theater, it was so quiet. I couldn't tell. Like they already have very heavy, like turn of the century, um, new America accents, where we want to
Mm,
call it. I guess it's like an English accent, but been here a bit, I guess, and
yeah.
so it's very hard to tell what was going on, but is definitely not a jump scare movie. Is definitely a feel uncomfortable kind of movie, a
Sure.
slow build movie. I just love the atmosphere built in that. So I think that's one of
Hmm.
my tops. I always love The Shining. I don't think
Yeah.
that's super scary anymore these days either, but I just think it's very well done.
Yeah, it's just a solid movie.
Hmm. The Visit that I watched that recently, that is good. I would
Okay.
put it as one of the best, but it is good. And one of the actors that's in Daredevil that we're going to talk about in a bit here is in
Mm.
that as well.
Oh,
The
cool.
priest,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, you'll see him differently if you watch The Visit.
Okay. Maybe it's good I watched Daredevil first. And then I
Yeah,
watched
I
The
think it
Visit.
is. Yeah, but then after that, yeah, the top three: Sinister, Insidious, Conjuring. But yeah, I give it to Alien. I think that's we
Yeah.
talked what our best movies of like perfect movies of all time are, and I think Alien came up then too. So
Yeah, for both of us because it's yeah, just so well done from top to bottom. Um, the other movie I kind of wanted to give a shout out to. It's not like I wouldn't say it's in my top 5, but it'd be in like my top 10. So I agree with its placement here is The Descent. I thought
okay,
it was going to be this like kind of half funny, half campy,
right
terrible, movie,
there.
and it wasn't. It was actually
No,
really good.
yeah,
So, I think maybe I rate it high just because I think my expectations were just so shattered by the fact that it was a really great movie, and I was just so surprised by it. But I also think it's a really well done horror movie.
yeah. I kind of held off on watching that one for a while because
Hmm.
I thought, oh, it's another like stupid teenagers thing or
Yeah,
something. But no, it was good.
yeah.
Um, I'm maybe in the minority that I don't think It Follows or The Babadook were very good.
No, I agree. I can't speak, of course, to the Babadook, which I should, just because I should watch it. But I watched It Follows again recently, and it's fine.
It's fine, yeah. And I
I
think that
mean,
is better than The Babadook. But
yeah, I just
um,
wouldn't. I would maybe move some other like if I had my choice of like I guess I don't know. It's hard because of course this is like
it's what's
scares.
scariest. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're talking a little bit about, like the actual quality of the film.
Yeah.
So, I think quality of the film probably would change this list a lot. But yeah, but I also didn't think It Follows was very scary either. Um
Well,
it
and
was
so
mildly scary.
interesting because also, 28 Days Later is number
Mhm.
16 on this list. And I would argue probably a better film than 28 Weeks Later, but I
Mhm.
think 28 Weeks Later is way scarier.
Yeah,
Um,
and
I
that's not even
just,
on here.
no, I think, but again, too, this is supposed to be not people ranking what they think is the most scary, literally how their
Their
heart rate
heart
responds.
reacts. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, nothing you can really control unless you're obviously, a master of that, but good for you if you can do that. I can't.
yep. All right. Well, that's the list. Our
Very
thoughts of it.
interesting.
Thanks for um, putting in some input there, Ghost Floof, and thanks for the
Yeah,
follow.
appreciate it.
We're going to move on now to, again, not a new show, but a show
No.
I've just recently rewatched and you've watched through for the first time.
Yes, new to me.
Netflix's Daredevil season 1.
Mhm.
So spoiler time for Netflix's Daredevil
That's
season 1.
right. That's right. If you haven't seen it,
Yeah.
beware. I
So
mean,
this is
I hadn't, so.
right. Yeah, no, there's lots of people that still haven't, I mean, a lot of people when it comes to comic book things or the Marvel world or something, it's
Hmm.
the big movies, and
Yeah,
that's what it is.
and
So.
I think it can feel a little overwhelming because there are so many options on Netflix that are, intertwined. I mean, you've got Daredevil, you've got Jessica Jones, you've got Iron Fist, Luke Cage, you've got the Defenders. Like, it does feel almost like you're starting from the beginning with Marvel movies. You know what I mean? Like looking back at how far we've come, from that very first like Iron Man release, and then you had this like whole
Yeah.
subsequent release. It's like, whoa, it's a lot of content to kind of catch up on. So I get that would be rough starting out, but
Yep. Well, for me, I am really trying to appreciate, like I was pretty bummed when everything was getting canceled from the Netflix Marvel stuff. But
yeah,
at this point now, I'm just trying to be appreciative of it because though there's a lot of it that's not perfect and I didn't like all of it, it was some of the most exciting stuff to me in the Marvel universe coming out.
yeah,
And in my book, Marvel needs to reprove themselves going forward into this next phase.
yeah.
And so I don't have a lot, I don't have a lot of confidence in, like necessarily in the direction they're going to go, but we'll see,
Yeah.
And so right now I'm thinking, maybe these are the best versions of these characters we're going to get. And I'm just happy that we did get these shows.
Hmm.
And so now, yeah, I'm in the path of rewatching. So,
Hmm.
um, but jumping into it, you started where you should, the first show that came out in that
Yes.
world. What do you think?
Yeah, the decision obviously was kind of twofold for me. One, it's the first show that came out, so it seemed logical to start at the beginning. As you would start with the first Iron Man in the movie series. And then also I have a real like hate love relationship with the Daredevil movie with Ben
Yeah,
Affleck and Jennifer Garner.
I
I
think
really,
Squishy
really
just
hate it.
commented on that. Yeah.
I really hate it. Although love I do love two parts of it. I love Michael Clark
Okay.
Duncan because how can you not?
Yeah.
I love that
Okay.
man. I think you can really tell he has a lot of fun in that movie. And everybody else just seems like pained in that movie. So he's kind of a fun break from everybody else. Um and then I can't remember his name right now. And I feel terrible about it. But the reporter in the movie, he's the guy who's evil in The Matrix, the one that portrays them all. Um, I just can't,
Oh,
I just can't remember his
I know
name
who
right
you mean
now.
then.
Right.
Okay.
It's like on the tip of my tongue, but I can't
Spoilers
remember
for
it.
the Matrix. Yeah.
Ah, sorry.
Okay. Well, if you
um,
don't say his name, then we won't know.
Right,
But yeah,
right.
I
Yeah,
know who you
you'll
mean.
never
Yes.
know.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I think his character, the reporter who follows, Matt Murdock slash Daredevil around, I think he does a really great job, and he's like kind of the one um character draw in that movie, and then everybody else is just, like I said, very pained. Everything seems painful to them. So yeah, so I was really excited to delve into the Netflix show just because I'd heard so many great things about it. Um, and just thought, like the caliber of actor that they were able to draw is like far better than the movie. Um, so yeah, so I was really excited. I really enjoyed the first season. It took me a little
Good.
bit to get into, just,
Okay.
world building, introducing everything. And then I was like really hooked, kind of slowed down for me around like episode 6, 7, 8 kind of thing, and then really picked back up when we headed into the first season finale, um which I think is a typical problem for a lot of shows. You're getting introduced, everything's new, everything's exciting, you're learning, and then you sort of have these middle episodes that kind of bridge where you need to go for an exciting finale, that aren't, they're not bad, they're just not quite as good as
Yep.
everything you've been watching, and then you like hit your stride into, okay, let's like wrap everything up and tie these
Yep.
plot lines together. So
I'll try not to be like extra critical because I want to make it clear I love this show,
sure.
but it just being in the position to rewatch it again now and
Yeah.
stuff, kind of reemphasizes some stuff. Part of the big problem with the Netflix Marvel shows, and you'll see it in all of them going forward, is that there's a deal signed, it sounds like early on, to how many episodes would be delivered. They were obligated to deliver each season. It was like
Sure.
13 or whatever.
Sure.
And they could not fit content for 13 episodes always. They had their story. They had like clearly the point A and the end point, and getting there, they had to fill. It seemed like in a lot of the seasons. Not all of them were like that. Where that I can think of probably 3 seasons that didn't have that sort of mid-season sort of lull or slump because they needed to chop off a few episodes.
Sure.
They could have done it in 8.
Yeah.
And it would have tightened everything up. But it mattered for viewings for episodes, and they asked for 13, and that's what they're going to get. So that's what had to happen, I guess. So yeah, I think that's my biggest issue with this season 1 of Daredevil is there's this time in the middle where we all get a little mopey.
Yeah.
Oh, Mrs. Cardenas, over and over. Oh, but Mrs. Cardenas, it's like, Fisk has done other things than like attempt to buy this lady out of this dump.
Right.
And some of those things like, yeah, you should have felt bad for not telling her to take the money and move someplace safe. And that wasn't a dump, a hole in the wall, but it's my home. No, get out. You're ridiculous. So I had issue with that. I mean, but look, that's the characters, whatever you want to do, but
yeah. I mean, I think it in the beginning, it was very impactful because of course they built like a bond with Mrs. Cardenas, and they I mean, beyond, just like what you'd think of as attorney-client, relationship. And of course, they respected her and respected her kind of determination. And it was a good thing at first. And then it just, it did get repetitive. Like I love, the learning of, how she died, their commiseration at Josie's. Cause I like the feel of like them being at Josie's bar. It really kind of put you in their world, and I thought it was a well done, kind of set piece. But then, like you said, them repetitively bringing it up, it was like, please move on to something else. Like, please think about something else. So, yeah.
I noticed you mentioned in your comments that you didn't really care for the time spent with the Russians. I actually really liked that part of it. Okay.
I didn't, only because I didn't think it made a whole lot of sense. And I thought it was like an early foe for Daredevil. And I get the whole, like, we build up to Fisk. I mean, we don't just like go at him, and we have to see Daredevil struggle and like kind of work through his organization. Like, I got it. But I thought sometimes character motivations for me just didn't match up. Like sometimes people were just really emotional about things, and that included the Russians, and it just like didn't quite make sense. Their actions didn't quite make sense to me. So yeah, I could have like shortened some of that, like early, like Daredevil, needs an adversary and like finds the Russians kind of thing. I could have shortened that and tightened that a little bit. And maybe that's to do, like what you said, the number of episodes that they had to deliver, and that sort of like feeling, because I just felt like we have a long way to go. We have so many other people that we have to get to. So yeah.
Yeah, it's and I see you mentioned this kind of with Matt Murdock. There's some kind of repetiting, frustrating things that he does, and it is the difficult thing which is why I'm kind of ultimately happy, I guess, that we got 3 seasons of Daredevil, and that's where we've left it, because you can only have certain struggles for so long.
Exactly.
And then a decision must be made, and then often it's not as interesting after that decision is made or whatever. Yeah. So it is that's a tough thing to balance. I think it's nice having like Claire, Rosario Dawson's character, to to bounce things off and like, in ways keep Matt in check and different stuff. Um,
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
I was just gonna say I liked her there early, but I like now. I mean, already spoilers, but extra spoilers. I like now Foggy being that person because I just in general like Foggy more, and I think he makes more sense as like somebody that Matt cares about as a check. I mean, I obviously cares about Claire, but he also has just met her. Like Foggy's been his friend for so long. It just makes it more impactful that he's kind of like, trying to nudge Matt on a more moral compass. It makes more sense that Matt would have more vested in his opinion, in Foggy's opinion of him than he would Claire's opinion of him. You know. So I like that shift, and I like Claire's character, but like I said, I noted I kind of like her being in the background, just kind of being on call to stitch him up now.
I was happy with despite some of the what do I do kinds of things that plague Matt. I think that Charlie Cox does a very good job with the character.
I agree.
And I also think that Wilson Fisk is portrayed very well.
Yes.
And I think that, it's so critical to this show or to any kind of superhero show that the villain is just as good as the hero. And I think that rings true for a lot of the Netflix, or at least the good seasons of a lot of the Netflix shows. So
yeah, I'm a little worried stepping into season 2 to, meet a new villain. Hopefully he or she is as compelling as Fisk was. I did kind of find Fisk, not D'Onofrio's portrayal of him, because I think he did a fabulous job. I did find his storylines alternating kind of fascinating and flat. I found like, his initial introduction very interesting. His background story was fantastic. And then, kind of getting to where he is today was interesting. His growing relationship with Vanessa, but then towards the end I didn't quite make sense of what exactly he was doing, campaigning to be like this philanthropist in Hell's Kitchen. I got very confused. I thought at first he was kind of running for office and this was going to be sort of like a mirror of his dad's situation. And he kept having all these press conferences like, we have to build a better tomorrow. And he really sounded like campaigning. And then suddenly I learned like in the ninth or 10th episode or whatever, they're like, oh yeah, I'll leave the campaigning to you, Senator. Like, I'm just a do-gooder. And I was like, I didn't really like follow all of that. I mean, I knew kind of the drive behind it, get your name out there so that when you take over Hell's Kitchen, it looks like you're, doing this out of the goodness of your heart and you're like rebuilding the city and being an investor. But there was just something a little convoluted, I thought, about that aspect.
Well, I mean, part of what makes him good, I think, is that he does think that he's doing good ultimately.
Yeah, I bought
he
that
has a
aspect
vision
of it
for Hell's Kitchen and what he wants to become.
Mm-hmm.
He's just also willing to do anything for that, and it makes sense that he's, if you're in a situation where something terrible is about to come out about you, well, he was always trying to get out ahead of that. Like you see the first good chunk of this season, the first half about or whatever, he doesn't want even people to mention his name. Like he should not know who this shadowy figure is. Well, when it's going to be too late for that and he's going to be exposed, as opposed to playing catch up. Oh, you hear about Fisk, this character in the newspaper and like all the shady dealings he has. If he gets out and shows the public who he wants them to see first, it puts the onus of proof on the news media or the follow up to like, no, actually this guy is terrible. So it's just a power play, and it's a way that he can get out ahead of any sort of bad press that he is not able to control.
Right. I got that. I think the execution of that transition logistically in the actual like transition just didn't work for me. Like like I said, I got the motives behind it and I got the ideas behind it. I think it was just not logical for me to follow this, like, don't even mention my name, to like, here I am, but what am I? Am I a philanthropist? Am I like I said, am I running for office? Like, what am I doing? So it was a bit hard for me to like get that sudden transition. I just kind of wanted a little bit more in the middle to get me there. Um, but I mean, it did sort of fit in the sense of it wasn't the best thought out, because it is hard to go from like nobody knows a thing about you to you're everywhere without people like, Ben and Karen getting suspicious and being like, there's no way, there's nothing on this guy. We have to go digging and find something. Um, so, I mean, it made sense that people were suspicious, but it also made sense because it felt like kind of an emotional, not the best thought out logistic jump. And that was kind of what the second half of the season was concerned with, Fisk's emotions, and getting in the way of his business. And I thought that part of his story sold really well.
I like how this show set up pretty interestingly, like the bigger powers at play as well.
Yeah.
Like throughout the time, you'd see like, okay, who is it? It would bring up questions. Okay, who is Fisk working with?
Right.
He seems worried about who he's working with, and maybe a larger organization that he's dealing with, and like the play between those people. I thought was kind of interesting because you get to see, Fisk is the guy that's at the top supposedly. Well, in this, he's not really necessarily, and so I just like the questions and the world building of that.
Yes.
That this has set up. And then you
Yeah.
notice some more things having watched other seasons of other shows as well, like what they're doing as well. So, yeah. What'd you think of his suit?
Oh, the eventual suit he got. I like that. I like that they sort of had a plausible explanation for how this suit came into being. I think that's kind of a big question, a big logistics question that you ask yourself of superheroes. Like, how do they make their suits? Like, how does that come about? And sometimes it's believable. Like Tony Stark is this technology genius, so of course he would like be able to build himself a suit. And then other times you have it more like humorous, like Deadpool going through, all his like iterations of his costume. And I thought it was great that Daredevil didn't even try to like build a real suit. He was just, the guy in the mask, stuff you could find, put together. And then, he notices that Fisk has this like lightweight armor, going on, that he's got. And he's like, I should get that. And I should get the guy who built that to, make something for me. So I thought that aspect was really believable in terms of, like I said, how the suit came into being. It doesn't look like the all leather, number we got with Affleck. There's clearly some like actual armor built in there. So again, much more believable. Although the flip of Fisk's worker from I work for Fisk and I got to kill the man in the mask and then I'm going to work for him was a little quick. But you got to do what you got to do. Again, you got to fit what you can fit in the storyline. So yeah,
I think Ghost Floof is a big Affleck fan. They're upset that we're
don't diss Affleck. Technically, dissing Affleck's costume is not dissing Affleck.
Yeah.
That's really the costume department's trouble. And I only mention it because, I mean, if you're wearing like all leather, like it doesn't deflect weaponry. As this guy in the Daredevil season says, like, I haven't finished it. It's not fully armored.
Yeah.
So, the red parts that you've got on your arms, like the sole leather might, deflect a knife blade depending on the way it comes at you, or might not. It's just not that helpful. Yep. So I think having it, mention that it be some sort of armor in there, kind of
Yeah.
makes it a little more believable. Like you talk about with uh Christian Bale's Batman versus,
Right.
the older Batmans where it's like rubber suits and stuff like that. And then
Yep.
Christian Bale's like, no, I need flexibility, I need movement, but I also need armor. So
There's a balance. Like for me, I don't love this Daredevil suit, and I think it is kind of reminiscent in a way of like the Christian Bale Batman suits, and I don't
sure.
really love that version either. I get that it's more utilitarian,
Hmm.
um, but there's that balance between on the show style and utilitarian. And I think that to me, this Daredevil suit is not the best. Like is a lot in the face and stuff. I think they have it where it squishes his face maybe a bit much or something. It's
I
just not.
Yeah, I did find the fact that like his eyes are left open, like there's no covering on his eyes. I found that
No,
really
they're red.
weird.
No, they're red.
But I
It's just
literally saw his eyes though. Do you know what
you
I
have
mean?
to
Like
look back because it's like
in one of the
it's
rooftop scenes, he like looks down and I was literally like looking at his eyes and I was like, wacky.
I think it's like I think
Must have
your
been like,
mind's filling that in some reflection and stuff or something.
or maybe, they just missed it in that shot
Yeah,
or something.
yeah,
But yeah, I
that
just
could be.
remember seeing that in one particular shot and being like, "What?" Like now everybody's like super aware of who you are. You're barely covering any part of your face.
Yeah.
At least with like the mask you had like the top half covered. But
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, so maybe next season I'll look again and it's, not there. But yeah, just for that
Well,
brief moment
so
I thought that doesn't make any sense.
that brings me to the big question. Are
Ooh.
you going to go right into Daredevil season 2, or are you going to watch these shows in the order they like cinematically are, like the way they came out and stuff?
Is the seasons of like Jessica Jones next in terms
Yeah,
of
Jessica Jones
release?
season 1
Okay.
is what released next,
Okay.
and then it was Daredevil season 2.
Okay.
Um, so that's the
Interesting.
question.
That's a
And so
good
I'm
question.
because I'm rewatching these and then my parents are watching them for the first time,
Sure.
I'm trying to decide which way I want to recommend because
Sure.
I want to watch some of the other shows again as well.
Yeah.
But at
Hmm.
the same time, while my parents are kind of invested in Daredevil now, do we want to go into other ones? And I'm thinking that I'm going to have them try watching an episode or two of Jessica Jones and
And
see if they're
see.
into it.
Sure. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, obviously Netflix started to make my decision for me as it auto played into
Just autoplays, yeah, yeah.
into season 2. And I watched like 2 seconds of it before I was like, "No, no, no. Like
Hmm.
don't start this. Like, take a pause and start season 2 later." But it is hard because I am invested now because I did think, the couple episodes including the season finale were really engaging and I was really invested. And like I mentioned in my notes, I really love the dynamic between Matt, Foggy, and Karen. And I was just kind of like interested to see where they were. Like, was there a time jump? Are they picking up almost right where they left off? Where's the firm of Nelson and Murdoch at? So I was really interested. I was really interested to see how they were going to build out the world of Hell's Kitchen in season 2 because I felt like season 1, um, everything that they introduced us to was fully fleshed out. Like the idea of Hell's Kitchen, like every location we went to felt fully formed and real, but we didn't get to see a lot of it. We spent a lot of time in some very familiar places, and I was kind of excited to see at the end of season 1, like, we were on the street a little bit more. We were trying to like go different places and see the denizens of Hell's Kitchen a little bit more. So I don't know, it kind of made me excited to watch season 2, but yeah, I don't know if I want to just like power through Daredevil and then be all done with it, or if I want to
Yeah.
go try Jessica Jones because I am interested in that as well. Of course, obviously holding one of my favorite actors, David Tennant. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Well,
maybe I'll Marvel it. Maybe I'll, obviously they didn't release like all 3 Iron Mans at once. It was like
Right.
They
Right.
staggered. So maybe I'll follow that too.
Gives you a chance to miss stuff a little bit,
Yeah.
and it's still not the situation where you might watch something and then you're watching all at once, and then by the time you get to the next season of Daredevil, it's been a long time, you've forgotten. Like
Right.
it won't be like that.
Right.
Um, I don't know. I just yeah, I don't know which way is best. And even the way that they release chronologically, I don't know that's necessarily timeline wise how they're happening. I think a lot of
Okay.
them are kind of happening at the same time, or it doesn't even necessarily matter. But still, there's a kind of a built-in understanding with characters, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And it does help you see where things are when
Mm-hmm.
with the characters that cross over.
Sure.
So
Yeah. I mean, I
I
don't
don't
I
know.
don't want to like try watching the Defenders without,
Right.
having watched at least some, of everybody's seasons. Although I think Iron Fist only has one season,
Two. Two.
two seasons. Okay, all right. I just I don't remember a lot about it, but I remember it not performing that well, so I wasn't sure if it had gotten a second season.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame. Well, but yeah, we should definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
So that's part of the selfish thing. Like I definitely want to watch Iron Fist again,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah. Well, my plan, I think, is to try to see if my parents watch. So finish Daredevil season 1, then
Mm-hmm.
go to Jessica Jones season 1, then Daredevil season 2, then Iron Fist season 1, then
Iron Fist was before
I
Luke
think
Cage.
I didn't like Luke Cage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't like Luke Cage, and season 2, it is supposedly even worse. Yeah, biased. I am.
Helen's calling you out.
So So obviously, watch whatever you want. I'm just saying
Well, I think
what I'm
I have
electing
to
to show
watch
my
Luke
parents.
Cage
Sure,
if I'm going to
what
watch
I'm
the
electing.
Defenders.
You see, the thing is, the Defenders is like one of the weaker points too. So I was even questioning showing that to
Showing
my parents.
Sure. Well, I think there's a difference too between like me watching it and you showing it to your
Yes,
parents. Like
yes,
there's a different willingness level probably, an
sure,
interest level,
yeah,
to watch something that, might not be as great just in the interest of like getting the fully fleshed out universe.
right, exactly. Because I feel pressure when I'm like, come over and watch this, and I'm telling
It's
you,
got
I've
to be
seen this and it's
good.
good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, Luke Cage, the writing was so sloppy.
Oh,
It was
okay.
so sloppy, and it's really a shame because um, the actor for Luke Cage, I think is great, and you'll
Mhm.
see him in other things. And I thought he did a very good job. And there's a couple villains in Luke Cage that I won't talk about that are really cool, but
Mhm.
I can't say more without giving away spoilers.
Okay.
But yeah,
Don't tell me.
it was a disappointment.
Okay.
Uh, uh, okay, Ghost Floof asks,
Ooh,
new question for the day.
new
Which
question.
actor do you guys like the most if you could choose only one? Well,
Oh my
that's
gosh.
a very broad question.
That is a very
That's
broad
a very broad
question. Are
question.
we
I mean,
uh
you're gonna say Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I mean, I can read your mind right
well
now.
um yeah, I mean, are we talking like anybody ever? Like, or are we talking about out of the things we've mentioned today? Man. Or, out of like, would I take Charlie Cox over Ben Affleck because we're comparing Daredevils? um, yeah, gosh. I mean, yeah, obviously my first default is to say Dwayne the Rock Johnson because I love him. But I recognize that he's also like not the best actor I've ever seen. Um, God,
Clip
if I
it.
was
Clip it. She
oh
said it.
God, God, it's out there forever now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you ever
Yeah.
see this. I still love you. Um, yeah, I mean, when I think of actors, I mean, I'm immediately more drawn to somebody like Daniel Day-Lewis. Um,
Okay.
just I respect his like total method acting, and I always, even if I don't like the movie, I always believe who he is. Yeah, same. I was going to bring up Gary Oldman the same way. Um, I love a lot of his movies. And again, I always fully believe in his characters. Um, I also really enjoy, in a very, very different way, like Ian McKellen. And I know like you immediately think of like Gandalf and things like that, of course. How can you not? But I enjoy a lot of his smaller roles too. He was in recently a Sherlock Holmes movie that didn't get a lot of like fanfare, but I just thought was so excellent. I love his older stuff. One of my favorite things that's ever been put out there is a version of Shakespeare's Macbeth with Ian McKellen and Judi Dench as Lord and Lady Macbeth, and it's just so brilliant. Their acting is just
Okay.
amazing, and they just like feed off each other so well.
Yep.
Um, but that's that's a very different kind of acting as well.
Right.
It's not to everybody's taste, and I recognize that, but I still think it's brilliant. So yeah, tough to pick. Wow, only one. Oof, that's rough.
Well, when
What
you
what
think
would
of
be what
like,
would be your stab at it?
I think that when my mind goes to who I think is the best actor,
Hmm.
often it goes to Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay.
I've always had such an admiration for
Yeah,
his
that's a
his
great choice.
abilities. It's go from something like his first couple Shyamalan movies, so Signs and then The Village,
Hmm.
but then going to Gladiator,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
completely different. And then a movie like Her was very
Hmm.
like soft and understated, and
Hmm.
then to The Joker, and then Johnny Cash, where he
Yeah.
has, I mean, Johnny Cash isn't the best singer ever, but where he does a performance there and stuff.
Right.
So I think that he really becomes whatever he's gonna be, very authentically. I think that
Sorry,
um,
I'm watching Alan's commentary as well. Rip that sink off the wall
what is that from?
for Joaquin Phoenix.
Hmm.
That's Walk the Line, isn't it?
Is it?
And one of his
I don't
like,
remember. That's what it
oh,
is.
I thought it was like one of his God, it's been a while since I've seen that movie too. It's a good one. Um, one of his darker points when he's on drugs.
Hmm. And then yeah, the Gary Oldman is a good pick always. I think that Rose Byrne is criminally underrated.
I agree with
Uh,
that. I agree with that
I
very
think that
much.
she can be absolutely anything, basically.
Hmm.
Um, and then there's classics like Westworld is a great example. Like when you like, it's those scenes when you get to see Anthony Hopkins,
Yeah,
sitting there, like having
as
his
Ford. Yeah.
conversation with Ed Harris and stuff. Like
Hmm.
there's a lot of greats for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's tough to
when it comes
pick.
to like person, I just love Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum.
Is he your
Jeff
rock?
Goldblum and Keanu Reeves, like that's yeah, he's my they would be my rock for sure. Um, Ghost Floof says Justin Hartley would be his.
Is that
I
the
don't think
is that the that's the guy from This Is Us, right?
it is. Yeah, I see. I'm looking that up now. Yep.
Okay.
I don't.
Towards actress
I have to
Jessica
say I
Chastain or
haven't.
Evan Rachel Wood. Yeah, good ones. Evan Rachel Wood is a fantastic actress. And I mean, in Westworld solidly, absolutely, but also in
Mhm.
uh a lot of other films as well. I've always thought
Yep.
she's done a great job. Alan mentioned Meryl Streep, and I can't believe like, I mean, I thought of it, but it's just like she's just so ubiquitous
Overrated.
now. Well, she's
That's
just
my stance
now
right now.
she's just now so Meryl Streep. It's
Yeah.
almost she's
Looks like
becoming
Jack Nicholson.
herself in something. You see her, and you're just so aware that you're watching Meryl Streep. I think she does a great job. There are definitely movies I love. She really gets into her roles. But I have a really hard time now just because she's so everywhere, not being like reminded of the fact that she's Meryl Streep.
Yep. To me, that's Jack Nicholson, or it was Al Pacino, but he's kind of like pulling it back around,
Yeah, with the
you know?
hunters.
Pacino,
I
yeah,
was
like
very
Pacino started
not
taking
aware of
roles that
Pacino
are
in that.
they're smaller sometimes, and it's not like the main role, and trying to be something
Mm-hmm.
different. He's not
Yes.
just banking on like this is my caricature that I've made over the years, and I can just walk in and be that,
Right. Which I
So,
really felt when I was watching oh God, The Irishman. I really
mm,
felt like I was watching. It was really great, but I was just so aware of watching all of these men be who they are, like De Niro and
right.
Pacino, and I was just like,
Yep.
I know who you are. Like you're not really disappearing into the role for me. Um, and it really only happened in the last like 10, 20 minutes of the movie, where they like aged them up significantly because they'd been spending like 20 years in prison. And then I was
Mhm.
like, wow, these guys are blowing my mind with their acting because I'm not looking at them.
Right. All right. Well, I think that probably about does it for the episode. We covered a bunch on Daredevil season 1.
Hmm.
Um, you would give it a thumbs up then?
Yes, I would. I
Okay.
would. I very much enjoyed it. Um, Probably more, like I said, like the introduction and the last slide towards the season finale were really great. And then yeah, it had that mid-season lull that was really plaguing me for a long time, and I I had a hard time, pressing play on the next episodes. But once I did it, like, fantastic job.
Nice. So, well, you have to let me know where you go next. If you go right into Daredevil season 2, or if you jump into Jessica Jones, either one is fine. Like I said, I've seen it, and you just have to.
Hmm.
You can take the time to recap me if I don't get through it in time. So if
Okay.
we watch different ones. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. Okay, well, this has been Popcast on the Rocks, episode 35.
Hmm.
Um, Often we do 2 episodes a week. Right now it's been down to one, so that's what we got. We're kind of in between shows. We've been doing a whole series on The Boys. We went through Boys season 1 and 2, so you can
Hmm.
go on YouTube and find all those videos there. We talked about Doom Patrol. We talked about Westworld season 3. Go through each episode. um, we'll be going on to something else. I'm
Hmm.
currently still watching Raised by Wolves,
Right.
and I'm looking forward to The Mandalorian season 2. We do have Doom Patrol season 2 as well. So
Hmm.
lots of content that is there for us to choose from.
Hmm.
Um, I want to thank Ghost Floof for jumping in, following,
Yeah.
contributing to the conversation.
Absolutely.
Um,
Good questions.
yeah, you can follow us on Twitter. Again, YouTube. That's where everything goes. Um, I also stream with my brother-in-law, Lucas333, here on Twitch. That's Lucas with a K. It's usually 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So tune in, and like sometimes we're playing Fortnite. We played Hearthstone's Battlegrounds. I tried that for the first time this last week, so that was fun. Um, Thank you to Killing the Flower for our theme song.
Hmm.
They are on YouTube and Instagram, so follow them there. And anything else that you want to plug or that I missed?
No, I think you covered it all. Well done.
All right. So next week is Halloween. Halloween is coming up. Probably
That's
talk some
right.
more horror or something then. Um, but follow us to find out.
That's right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Cheers.
Bye.